I'm gonna go on YouTube.com. I wonder how the results of that poll I hosted went.
Dear Lord, that's the loudest profanity I've ever heard.
Note to self. Never put a joke on a poll unless you're willing to face the consequences. Alright, I'll do it. Merry Christmas, folks. Let me set the stage first, though. Ever since Onomatopoeia won her YCS, she's become a celebrity and everyone in town wants to be the one to end her winning streak. This includes Ryan and his two unnamed friends, who want a chance to be that person. Xtevens then walks up and decides that he's a member of the group now, like he was R-Truth in the Judgment Day. The group reject him and tell him they want to defeat Onomato's team. The problem is that Onomatopoeia is unbeatable. Xtevens says everyone loses sometimes, but they say that Onomatopoeia is the exception to that rule, which is a fact given how, to this date, she still hasn't lost on screen. Maybe one day. Ryan, though, is going to take his shot regardless. He walks up to her and challenges Onomatopoeia to a duel. Onomatopoeia says Ryan's team isn't on her level, though. Xtevens walks up in the most natural way possible, and Onomatopoeia says she wants to see him and Ryan duel. Ryan protests that he's not a member of their group, but Xtevens basically says, "I am now!" While Ryan looks at him, as if he's mentally looking up how to kill a man without going to jail. The two then start their duel after this, so there's no other setup. Kinda weird how they show that Onomatopoeia is with her team, but the two people she's with are not on her team. Onomatopoeia's team consists of herself, Brano, and Jenny, while she's currently sitting with Shaki and Chandri, which is funny considering I actually got their names mixed up in the Onomatopoeia versus Omar analysis, but the point is, they aren't part of Onomatopoeia's team. It's weird like that. I mean, it's entirely possible Onomatopoeia was just out with her friend, and she does that. I mean, there is the possibility that Team Bitch Slap broke up off screen, and there is precedent for that considering Jenny actually got kicked off of her original team, Team Leatherface, back in Season 1. Though honestly, I don't think that's the case, if only because I feel that since they're the main characters, Xtevens probably have something to establish this. All we have is theories though, because there's no confirmation in the series itself, so yeah. Odds are this is just a nothing burger though. This is weird, just like no one can beat her team, points to not her team. There's no more delaying this, is there? Alright, let's do this. The duel begins and Xtevens realizes that he's playing Modoches. He immediately puts his hand over his duel disc in surrender, like all Modoche players should, and loses the duel. So could Xtevens have beaten Ryan? Well, if he played a deck that wasn't cancerous or required just a little bit of skill, unlike Modoche's, then maybe. But he didn't, so he lost, like all Modoche players deserve to. But what do you guys think? Do you notice any misplays that I missed? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and
No! None of that! Shame on you!
Damn it, I was so close! Okay, fine. For real this time. The duel begins and Ryan goes first. He draws and his opening hand consists of Allure of Darkness, Inzektor Gigamantis, Magic Planter, Inzektor Centipede, Inzektor Sword Zecalibur, and Inzektor Hornets. He starts by activating Allure of Darkness, so he can draw 2 cards as long as he banishes 1 dark monster from his hand, or else his entire hand goes to the grave. He draws and gets 2 Inzektor Hoppers, then banishes 1 of those Hoppers. He normal summons Inzektor Centipede. He activates Centipede's effect, letting him equip 1 Inzektor monster from his hand or grave to this card. He equips Hornet from his hand, and while Hornet is equipped to a monster, that monster gains 3 levels and attack and defense equal to this card's attack and defense. This is an effect that almost all Inzektors share, so if it comes up again, I'll just tell you what the stat changes were. In this case, Centipede becomes level 6 and gains 500 attack and 200 defense. Now he activates equip spell Inzektor Sword Zecalibur and equips it onto Centipede, so Centipede gains 800 attack and defense. All these points are pointless though, because Ryan activates Hornet's equip effect. By sending it to the graveyard, Ryan can target 1 card on the field and destroy it, and he destroys Zecalibur. Now Zecalibur's other effect activates. Since it was sent from the field to the graveyard while it's face up, Ryan can add one Inzektor monster from his grave to his hand, and he takes back his Hornet. Now Centipede's other effect activates. If a card that is equipped to this card is sent to the graveyard, he can add one Inzektor card from his deck to his hand. And since 2 cards that were equipped went to the graveyard, he gets to search for 2 cards. So he fetches Inzektor Dragonfly and a second Zet-Caliber. Now he activates Gigamantis' effect from his hand. This lets him equip this card from his hand to Centipede, and Mantis makes Centipede's original attack points 2,400. Ryan ends his turn. Ah, Inzektors. Remember that create a card poll the TCG Konami held in 2020? That thing was a friggin' train wreck. But despite everything, Inzektors managed to win the poll with little help from Rank 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! And were guaranteed support. And then almost every other deck on that poll got support before Inzektors did. And when they did get support, it was one card. Zikstrike Koho. A card that's actually perfectly fine, but it was not worth all that build-up and hype. It obviously did not single-handedly save the entire Inzektor archetype. God, 2020 was such a mistake. Speaking of mistakes, it's Xtevens' turn. He draws, and his opening hand consists of Gold Sarcophagus, Post-duality, Madolche Mufloy, Madolche Ticket, Madolche Chateau, and Madolche Mageline. He begins by activating Post-duality, letting him look at the top 3 cards of his deck and choose 1 card to add to his hand, but he cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. He reveals Madolche Lesson, One-Shot Wand, and Madolche Knights. He takes One-Shot Wand, and the other 2 are shuffled back into the deck. Next, he activates the field spell Madolche Chateau, which gives all Madolche monsters extra 500 attack and defense points. It has 2 other effects, but those aren't relevant at this moment. Next, he normal summons Madolche Mageline, and when she's summoned, Xtevens can add 1 Madolche monster from his deck to his hand. And he has Madolche Messengelato. Following that, he activates Script Spell One-Shot Wand, which gives Mageline extra 800 attack points, putting her at 2,700. Xtevens enters his battle phase and has Mageline attack Centipede. Centipede and Gigamantis are destroyed, and Ryan takes 300 points of damage. Now, after damage calculation, Xtevens uses Wand's other effect, destroying it so he can draw 1 card, and he gets Forbidden Dress. Main phase 2, Xtevens activates Gold Sarcophagus. Now he can remove from play any card in his deck, and in 2 of his standby phases, he can add that card to his hand. He banishes Instant Fusion. Finally, he sets Forbidden Dress face down and ends his turn. Okay, well, in the interest of fairness, it's a misplay to not activate Ticket as well, because Ticket lets you search any Madolche card from your deck if a Madolche card is returned to the hand or deck by a card effect. Now, every main deck Madolche has the effect that if it dies by an opponent's card and goes to the graveyard, it is immediately shuffled back into the deck. Yeah, these pieces of trash don't stay in the grave like every other archetype. No! They're special. They load save states every 5 seconds because they can't win without them. This deck makes zombies look like they play with permadeath on. I had a point. Oh yeah, so when Mageline dies, it would normally go back to the deck. But then the lingering effect of Chateau activates, which lets Mageline be added to the hand instead. So while that part will still happen, now he won't get a free search because of Ticket since he didn't activate it. So, misplay. Though in hindsight it also isn't a misplay given what's going to happen on Ryan's turn. So maybe this isn't a misplay but actually smart. But Xtevens also can't know that at the time, so I'll still call it a misplay. Back to the duel. It's Ryan's turn. He draws and gets Call of the Haunted. He normal summons Inzektor Dragonfly. Xtevens responds back to make a quick play spell card Forbidden Dress. He targets Dragonfly and it loses 600 attack points, but it cannot be targeted or destroyed by other card effects for the rest of the turn. That move was pointless though, because Ryan activates Dragonfly's first effect, which is the same as Centipede's, and he equips it with Hornet, because the Inzektor equip effect doesn't target. Hornet's effect activates again, sending it to the graveyard to destroy Chateau. Now Dragonfly's unique effect activates. Since an equipped card it was equipped to went to the grave, Ryan can special summon 1 Inzektor monster from his deck, and he summons a second Centipede. Now Centipede's effect activates, equipping Hornet, then sending it to the graveyard to destroy Mageline, whom is immediately shuffled back into the deck. Then with Centipede's effect, he searches Inzektor Ladybug. Battle phase, Ryan attacks Xtevens directly with both monsters, dealing a grand total of 2,000 points of damage. Ryan sets Call of the Haunted face down and ends his turn, so Forbidden Dress's effect comes to an end. Yeah, so I'm gonna give a misplay to Xtevens because using Dress only really reduced the damage he took this turn. I think he was trying to make sure Ryan didn't equip Dragonfly with like another Gigamantis or that Zet-Caliber in his hand, or maybe he thought that Inzektors equipped via targeting, which only the high level ones do, but that move was still ultimately pointless. I mean, it's not a crime to not know what your opponent's cards do, and maybe he's trying to plan ahead, but that move, again, was still pretty pointless. I mean, you could say he used Dress to prevent the Excalibur combo again, or doesn't want Ryan equipping it to Dragonfly to beat over Magdalene. What's funny is, if he was trying to prevent Dragonfly from beating over Magdalene, he still summoned Centipede, who, if he equipped Excalibur to that, then he could have beaten over Magdalene anyway. Though if you want to say that not knowing something shouldn't be a misplay, go right ahead. But I will, because I love giving Medoce's misplays. Also, it is a misplay to Ryan, though, for not activating Excalibur onto either monster. Why not have a power boost and do more damage? Also, behold everyone! You just witnessed one of the deadliest 2-card combos in 2013. Dragonfly and Hornet. These two spent a good amount of time on the ban list for how powerful they were working together. Meanwhile, if you do that move nowadays, your opponent will ask where the rest of the combo is. Where's the 12 negates? Where's the giant beatstick? Where's the obligatory monster that's immune to everything? Obviously, I'm not saying Dragonfly and Hornet aren't a good combo. That's not my claim. They're still perfectly good cards nowadays, and they deserve their ban list placement at the time. But time heals all wounds, and in Power Creep's case, it was a frickin' aerosol can! It's Xtevens' turn. He draws and gets Breakthrough skill. In addition, it's been one turn since he activated Gold Sarcophagus. He starts by activating the continuous spell card, Madolche Ticket. Next, he summons Madolche Mewfoy. Its effect activates when it's normal summon, letting Xtevens special summon a Madolche monster from his hand. So he summons Madolche Messengelato. Messengelato's effect activates when it's special summoned. If Xtevens controls a face-up Beast-type Madolche monster, like Mewfoy, he can add one Madolche spell or trap card from his deck to his hand, and he adds a second Chateau. He activates Chateau, giving all of his monsters a power boost. Xtevens enters his battle phase, and then has Mewfoy crash into Dragonfly. Both are destroyed. But this means the Madolche combo of Cowcud is activated. Mewfoy would return to the deck, but because of Chateau, it returns to the hand instead. And because it was returned to the hand, Xtevens can search a Madolche monster, and he adds Madolche Hoop Cake. Messengelato attacks and destroys Centipede. Ryan takes 500 damage. Main phase 2, Xtevens sets Breakthrough skill face down and ends his turn. But during the end phase, Ryan activates his set continuous trap card, Call of the Haunted, letting him special summon any monster from his graveyard in attack position and equip it onto this card. But if this card leaves the field, the equipped monster is destroyed. He revives Dragonfly. It's Ryan's turn. He draws and gets Heavy Storm. Ryan activates Dragonfly's effect and attempts to equip Hornet. Xtevens chains, activating his set Breakthrough skill, targeting Dragonfly and thus negating its effect for the rest of the turn, so Hornet fails to equip. Annoyed, Ryan activates Magic Planter, sending his continuous trap Call of the Haunted to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. He gets Armor Blast and Threatening Roar, and also Dragonfly is destroyed. Next, he activates Heavy Storm, destroying all spells and traps in the field, so Xtevens' Chateau and Ticket combo are destroyed, and Messengelato loses its power boost. Next, he normal summons Inzector Hopper. He uses its effect, which is the same as Centipede's as well, and he equips it with Hornets. Then he sends Hornet to the graveyard to destroy Messengelato. Messengelato is destroyed and reshuffled back into the deck. Battle phase, Hopper attacks directly, and Xtevens takes 1700 points of damage. Main phase 2, Ryan sets Threatening Roar face down and ends his turn. Okay, now I gotta give another misplay to Ryan, because why not activate Excalibur and deal 2500 damage instead of 1700? Granted, he's saving it for a combo he's gonna do later, but it's still weird, you know? Why not do more damage? Also, I was gonna give him a misplay for not summoning Hopper, equipping his Excalibur, and doing this whole combo without Magic Planter. That way he could keep Dragonfly for next turn, and either attack directly or switch it to defense position. But the thing is, then he would do less damage because Xtevens still has his combo from Hell up, and he'd be stuck dealing with the Chateau and Ticket loop. Him using Magic Planter to get the biggest bang for his buck before Heavy Storming is actually the smarter move, so no misplay. It's Xtevens' turn. He draws and gets the Transmigration Prophecy. Standby phase, it's been 2 turns since he activated Gold Sark, so Xtevens can add Instant Fusion to his hand. Now, during his main phase 1, he normal summons Madolche Mewfat. He uses its effect to special summon Madolche Hoop Cake from his hand. Now he activates Instant Fusion, paying 1000 life points to special summon 1 level 5 or lower fusion monster from his extra deck. But it cannot attack and is destroyed at the end phase. And this special summon is treated as a fusion summon. So, he pseudo-fusion summons Fusionist. Xtevens then overlays level 3 Fusionist and Mewfat to Xyz summon Rank 3 MX Saber Invoker. He uses effect, detaching material, Fusionist, to special summon 1 level 4 Earth Warrior or Beast Warrior monster from his deck in defense position, that it'll die during the end phase. He summons Messengelamo, and since Hoop Cakes is a beast, he uses Lamo's effect to search a second ticket. Now he uses Hoot's effect, banishing a monster from his graveyard, Fusionist, to special summon one McDolce monster from his deck, except another Hoot Cake. He summons a second Messenger Lamo. Now he uses its effect to search a second Chateau. He then activates both Ticket and Chateau. He then overlays both his Messenger Lamos to Xyz summon the bane of my existence.
McDolce Queen Tiramisu.
He uses its effect, detaching a Messenger Lamo to shuffle 2 McDolce cards back into his deck to shuffle that many cards back into Ryan's deck. He targets his first Chateau and Ticket, but Ryan chains with his set Threatening Roar. Now Xtevens cannot declare an attack for the rest of the turn. Xtevens is annoyed, but continues. Chateau and Ticket are reshuffled to the deck, and Hopper is returned to Ryan's deck. And since they're spells, Chateau cannot return them to Xtevens' hand. But Ticket can still resolve. He searches a third Messenger Lamo. And because Tiramisu is a fairy-type monster, Ticket's other effect can resolve, letting him special summon that monster in attack mode. So it's summoned, which means it inserts another McDolce card, and he takes McDolce Lesson. He sets McDolce Lesson and the Transmigration Prophecy face down, and ends his turn. Raw, why have you forsaken me? Where's the once per turns? Ugh, Tiramisu, ugh. As if it wasn't obnoxious enough that the McDolces refuse to stay dead. She's a way to make sure that the spells and traps return to the deck too. And on top of that, she shuffles your card into the deck, which is still one of the most powerful ways to get rid of your opponent's monsters. Because we do have cards that say, this card cannot be destroyed by battle, this card cannot be targeted, and lots of other stuff. But there's no card that says, this card cannot be returned to the deck. Yet anyway. And she doesn't target either. Well, she targets her own cards, but she does not target the opponent's cards. Thank Raw they had the foresight to lock that thing to its own archetype, because if it was generic, McDolce's might have been a top tier deck rather than just rogue. And before you say they wouldn't, there's a reason we call a brick a garnet. But whatever, rant's over, there's no misplays, let's get back to the duel. It's Ryan's turn. He draws and gets Upstart Goblin. During the standby phase, Xtevens activates to set Transmigration Prophecy, which can target 2 cards in either player's graveyard and shuffle them back into their respective duelist's deck. Xtevens returns his own Messenger Lamo and Ryan's Hornet. Since Prophecy isn't a McDolce card, Chateau doesn't trigger, but Ticket does, and lets Xtevens add Mudgeline to his hand. Main phase 1, Ryan activates Upstart Goblin, so Xtevens gains the 1,000 life points he just paid to draw 1 card, which is Needle Sealing. Now he normal summons Inzektor Ladybug, then he finally activates that Caliber in his hand. Then he activates Armor Blast. Now by destroying a face of Inzektor card he controls, he can target 2 face-up cards the opponent controls and destroy them. He destroys Caliber and thus destroys Ticket and Chateau. Caliber's effect activates, letting him add Dragonfly from his graveyard to his hand. Now he uses Ladybug's effects, which is the same as Centipede's, and equips it with the Gigamantis in his graveyard, boosting Ladybug's attack points to 2,400. Battle phase, Ladybug attacks and destroys Hoot Crap. Xtevens takes 900 damage, and Hoot Crap is destroyed, then shuffled back into the deck. Main phase 2, Ryan sets Needle Sealing face down, and ends his turn. Now, I was going to give a misplay for not destroying Tiramisu since you just gave that thing fuel for its effect with Armor Blast. Now, granted, Needle Sealing were destroyed in the end, but Xtevens might top deck like, my body is a shield and protect his monsters. But in the end, Ryan did more damage, and the Queen is still dethroned, so I guess there's no misplay. It's the Spike talking. And I guess this is why he wanted to hold on to that Caliber so long. He wanted that Armor Blast combo, or just some way for it to die so he can get a card back from his graveyard. Which, that's not a bad way to do it all, it's just that sometimes it's better to do more damage. But whatever, let's keep going. It's Xtevens' turn. He draws and gets Defense Draw. Standby phase, Ryan activates his trap Needle Sealing. Because there are 4 or more monsters in the field, all face-up monsters are destroyed. Now there are no other cards on the field except Xtevens' face-down McDolce Lesson. Xtevens starts his turn properly by sealing McDolce Mudgeline. Its effect activates, searching Hoot Crap. Mudgeline attacks directly, and Ryan takes 1,400 points of damage. Xtevens sets Defense Draw face down, and ends his turn. It's Ryan's turn. He draws and gets Dark Eruption. He normal summons Dragonfly, then uses its effect to equip it onto Ladybug. Though it only gains Ladybug's 100 defense, but not by 100 attack, in a rare error from Xtevens. It doesn't really matter though, because he immediately activates Ladybug's effect, sending it to the graveyard to give Dragonfly 2 extra levels, making it level 5. Dragonfly's other effect activates, special summoning another Centipede from the deck. He has Centipede do the same thing Dragonfly just did, equipping it onto Ladybug, then unequipping it to become a level 5. Centipede's other effect then goes off, and Ryan searches a second Gigamantis. Ryan then overlays both of his level 5 Insectors to XC Summon, rank 5,
Insector Exostag.
Now he uses Mantis' effect, equipping it onto Exostag to make its attack 2400. Now he uses Stag's effect, detaching a material, Centipede, to equip Magdalene onto Stag, and Stag will gain attack and defense points equal to half of her attack and defense points, putting Exostag up to 3100 attack and 1400 defense. Ryan attacks directly, but during the damage step, Xtevens activates his set defense draw, so all battle damage becomes 0, and Xtevens can draw 1 card, and he gets Medolce-Palooza. Ryan ends his turn. It's Xtevens' turn. He draws and gets Medolce Ticket. Do you run any other cards? He starts by normal summoning Hoocrap. He then uses its effect, banishing MX Saber Invoker to special summon Medolce Pudding Cyst, a level 5 monster with 1000 attack and defense points, which I am convinced is a typo that they never caught because that's a 2002 baloney. Anyway, he activates Ticket. He then activates his set Medolce Lesson, returning a message Lamo to his deck to boost the attack and defense of all Medolce monsters he controls by 800. Ticket's effect goes off, letting him search another message Lamo, and because Pudding Cyst is a fairy type, he can special summon that Lamo, and Lamo's effect searches Chateau. Now he uses Breakthrough Skills effect from the graveyard. By banishing it, he can negate the effect of a monster the opponent controls, and he negates Exostag, and because its effect was negated, Magdalene is destroyed, so Exostag goes down to 2400 attack points. And yes, that is what would happen in the game. And if you're wondering why, I believe it's because monsters aren't normally able to equip onto other monsters, unless it's through a special ability, like an effect. So with the effect of Exostag negated, there's no special condition active, and thus, Magdalene just dies. Gigamantis isn't destroyed though, because that effect was through its own ability rather than Exostag. So there you go. And just for the record, when Magdalene dies, she doesn't reshuffle back into the deck because she wasn't destroyed by an opponent's card effect. It was a special condition. That's different. So she goes to the graveyard normally for like 5 seconds because Xtevens activates Chateau, which can return all Medolce monsters in his graveyard back to his deck and give all Medolces he controls a power boost. And since there's no Medolces in his graveyard now, putting Sus gains 800 attack and defense points via her own effect, putting her at 3100, Lamo at 2100, and Hoocrap at 2800. Putting Sus attacks Stag, destroying Stag and Mantis, and then doing 700 points of damage to Ryan. He then attacks directly with Lamo and Hoocrap, knocking Ryan down to 200 life points. Xtevens sets Medolce-Palooza face down, and ends his turn. It's Ryan's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets Insect Imitation. He activates Dark Eruption, letting him add a dark monster with 1500 attack or less from his graveyard to his hand. Then he adds Dragonfly. He summons it, and then activates its effect, equipping Ladybug. He uses its effect, unequipping it to gain 2 levels. Dragonfly's other effect activates and summons a third Mantis from his deck. Next he activates Insect Imitation. By tributing a monster he controls, he can special summon an insect-type monster from his deck that's 1 level higher than the tributed monster. He tributes to level 5 Dragonfly to special summon the level 6 Insector Giga Weevil. He overlays both of his level 6 monsters to XC summon rank 6 Insector Exabeetle. Beetle's effect activates on summon, letting it equip itself with any monster in either player's graveyard, and gain half of their original attack and defense points. But because Xtevens has no monster in his grave, he takes from his own grave his Gigamantis. And because Mantis gives the equipped monster in base attack points of 2400, then that's what Beetle's attack points become. Beetle's effect activates, detaching Giga Weevil to send 1 card on both players' side of the field to the graveyard. Ryan sends Mantis and Pudding Sus. And because Pudding Sus was sent to the graveyard and not destroyed, it does not return to the deck. And because Mantis went to the grave while it was equipped, Ryan can special summon an Insector monster from his graveyard, except a copy of itself. Now can you guess which one he summons? Is it A, Centipede, B, Hornet, C, Giga Weevil, or D, Dragonfly? Go ahead and guess in the comments below. I'll wait! Time's up! Let's see what he summoned.
Mantis effect summons Dragonfly.
To those who guessed Dragonfly, congratulations! Your prize is a discount code on this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Get to the point!
Right, sorry, he uses Dragonfly's effect, and look, he does the exact same thing he did in his last turn, but he summons Horn instead of Centipede, because he has no more Centipedes in his deck. So let's just fast forward to him XC summoning Exostag again. he detaches Hornet and equips Hoot Cake. Now he ranks up both of his monsters, destroying Hoot Cake in the process, to Xyz summon 2 rank 7 Gaia Dragon the Thunder Chargers. Which is not illegal because Gaia Dragon says you can do that on the first line of its text. Battle phase. Gaia Dragon number 1 attacks and destroys Lamo. Xtevens takes 500 damage. Chateau returns it to the hand and Ticket searches Mewfat. Gaia Dragon number 2 attacks Xtevens directly and reduces him down to 300 life points. Ryan ends his turn. It's Xtevens' turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Madolche Croissant.
You ready for some fun?
Well, you're playing Madolche, so no. Xtevens activates Madolche Palooza, which lets him special summon all Madolche monsters from his hand, but they're all returned to the deck during the end phase. He summons Croissant, Mewfat, and Messenger Lamo. He uses Croissant's effect. By returning a face-up Madolche card he controls to his hand, he gains 1 level and 300 attack points. He returns Ticket, and Sand becomes level 4 with 2300 attack points.
He then overlays Messenger Lamo and Croissant
To Xyz summon back Madolche Queen Tiramisu. Now, for its effect, he taps Messenger Lotto to reshuffle Messenger Lotto and Pudding Sus back to the deck, then hand, due to Chateau, in order to return both Thunder Dragons to Ryan's extra deck. No Ticket because it's not needed. Xtevens enters his battle phase and attacks directly with Tiramisu, winning the duel and officially becoming a member of the team. And I guess Onomatopoeia walked away off screen or something, because that plot point is dropped.
Now both duelists put on an amazing performance. In the end, the better man won. Even if that man was playing Madolches, but besides that, the question is, could Ryan have defeated Xtevens? And I believe the answer is yes. Let me break it down. I'd say his best chance came on his first turn, when he equipped everything onto Centipede. Then he just doesn't do the Zet Caliber combo and instead keeps everything equipped. Now it's Xtevens' turn. He can't really deal with that Centipede at the moment, so he'll most likely activate Duality, search the one-shot wand again, then activate Chateau, summon Magdalene, search Messenger Lotto, equip it with one-shot wand just so he can reduce the damage he'll take on the next turn, and then maybe activate that Ticket he's got in his hand, so at least when Magdalene dies, he can get a search of it. And, he'll probably activate Gold Sark. I don't know what he'll seal away instead of Instant Fusion. He might still seal away the Instant Fusion, but we're just speculating here. And then we're back to Ryan's turn, and now he actually has the field advantage. And while I don't know what he'll draw because he didn't shuffle his deck due to Centipede's effect, what I do know is Ryan now has the advantage. So, he can activate his Caliber and Hornet combo, do the same thing he did on his original first turn, and now get that search to get that Dragonfly, and now he can summon the Dragonfly while he's got Centipede on the field, then activate Dragonfly and Centipede's effects to equip an unequipped Hornet to destroy Chateau and Ticket. And then with Dragonfly's effect, he can summon, a Gigamantis from the deck just to do more damage. Then equip Dragonfly with the Gigamantis in his hand, equip Centipede with the second Zek Caliber that you search with its effect, then attack and do a boatload of damage. Of course, after the damage calculation, one-shot wand will let Xtevens draw a card, and then he'll get his Forbidden Dress, but we still inflicted a large amount of damage. Then after that, we're on Xtevens' turn, who'll probably do his Mewfroy and Messenger Lotto combo. However, now he doesn't have enough attack points to get over the monsters, and he doesn't have his Ticket anymore. So at this point, he is on the back foot. I don't know what he'll do from there, because I don't know if there's any combos he can come up with, and at this point, Ryan's going to start drawing random cards due to not shuffling his deck with Centipede. But at this point, Ryan's in a much better situation than he was earlier on in the duel if he just focused on having raw attack strength rather than doing a bunch of combos, because doing a bunch of combos is good in Yu-Gi-Oh! But sometimes, big number hit hard is more effective. Just ask Skull Servants. I even went to the comment sections of both videos in case anyone spotted any misplays. And while I didn't find anything about that, a commenter on part 2 pointed out something very interesting. Have a look-see.
To Xyz summon.
Did you notice it? Well, let me slow it down for you and zoom in. That's surprising, isn't it? This video's been out for 11 years and only now noticed it thanks to the commenter pointing it out. So, thank you to Payapo for making that discovery.
Despite all the misplays I gave Xtevens, he clearly was the better duelist in this scenario. Maybe this duel is why Madolches keep getting support while Inzectors are left high and dry. This duel was to decide who gets forgotten and who gets semi-consistent support. I will actually make a comment on the side of Madolches, though. Why don't they have a rank 3? 2 of their best cards are level 3, but the archetype is focused on rank 4s and 5s. I know they have links now, so the need for rank 3s isn't really there, but still weird, you know? Kinda like how Inzektor's have a Synchro when it's an Xyz archetype. Now granted the Synchro sucks, but look at that artwork, it's badass! But yeah, can't believe I actually stood up for Madolches at the end of all this. Anyway, what do you all think? Did you notice any misplays that I missed? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to check out Xtevens' channel if you haven't already. Link in the description. Now I'm gonna go unwrap some Christmas presents, so happy holidays everyone! This looks like a good one to start with. Let's just open her up and see what we got here. Oh, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. That's great.